Gosh, I love getting applause for doing nothing. Please carry on. Hello, everyone, and a very big, very warm welcome to the RSA. I'm Lloyd Grossman. I'm chair of the RSA, and delighted to have you here with us in the great room. And we also apparently have a global audience watching us online. So to the global audience, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever time zone you're in. A little bit of housekeeping. Please switch your mobiles to silence as we're live streaming tonight. If you're watching the live stream, please comment. On X, Instagram, and LinkedIn, the hashtag for tonight's event is hashtag RSA Spark, and our handle is @the_RSA.org. If you're a fellow, please join us on Circle in the RSA Spark space to share your thoughts and, of course, to carry on the conversation. We're here to celebrate the 2025 RSA Spark students selected for this year's showcase and special awards. And it's wonderful to have students, educators, FRSA reviewers, partners, and of course the World Designers for Industry joining us tonight alongside our friends and supporters. I hope you're looking forward to this special occasion, the opening of the RSA Spark 2025 showcase. So here's what we have planned tonight. I know that some of you have been with us since early afternoon to help us set up and connect with one another and share feedback. So many thanks for all of you who've done so much for us so far. I'll be passing on shortly to Joe Shakir, who's Director of Design, to tell you more about RSA Spark's learning and impact, and to introduce this year's Spark Briefs, partners, and showcased students. We'll then invite a panel to share their experiences of being part of RSA Spark this year in their own words. And finally, we unveil the 25 showcase here at RSA House, down in the vaults, and also online on the RSA website. This year has been a sort of an experimental one for RSA Spark, where the RSA team and partners and educators and fellows and students had the privilege to build on learnings from the Student Design Awards, which have a 100-year, very rich history, and to help shape future awards for even greater potential. And I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been on the journey with us this year. Many of you in the room tonight and online. Thank you very much for your creativity, your energy, and your wisdom. We wouldn't be celebrating tonight if it weren't for all of your contributions. So, following in the footsteps of its ancestor, the Student Design Awards, RSA Spark is here to inspire students aged 18 plus, wherever they are in the world, to grow and to apply their skills and creativity to real-world briefs that do more good for people, places, and the planet. And to paraphrase some obscure 18th century theologian, unless you can make the world better tomorrow, what's the point of tomorrow? And I really want to thank all the students for the work that they've done, and some really innovative and most of all inspiring work, because, you know, we want a better future, and gosh, we certainly need one. So thank you all very much indeed. Many congratulations. And I'll now pass on to Joe Shakir, who will take you through what we've done, what we've learned this year, and the impact we're starting to see. Thank you all very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
It has been a great, great privilege for the wider team and I here at the RSA to learn from the Student Design Awards' great legacy as we shape RSA Spark. That was no pressure at all. Before I come on to announcing our Brilliant Students Showcase this year, I wanted to take a moment to share some of the things that we have learned as we experimented with RSA Spark and the seeds of impact that we're starting to see grow. So let's start with learnings, and I've grouped these into 3 buckets. The first bucket is Student Design Awards successes that we have retained and nurtured, preserved. The second bucket is new changes that we have seeded under RSA Spark. And the third bucket is experiments that we have composted, the failures. So starting with the first bucket, and nurturing heritage, over our history, we have unlocked over 2,000 creative briefs with purpose-led industry partners. This remains the most valuable asset we offer educators and students to support their creative teaching and learning. For example, in just 3 months, RSA Spark briefs saw 507 downloads from 187 universities in 17 countries. With RSA Spark, we improved brief templates to start with an optimistic speculative future to inspire students, a clear set of learning outcomes, and a toolkit embedded within the briefs. Another thing we retained is continuing to invite RSA Fellows experienced in the briefs to review submissions. Reviewers are also responsible for sharing feedback with any students who request it to help them learn and improve their ideas. Moving on to the second bucket, and seeding change. As well as continuing to be open to design students, RSA Spark now goes beyond a single discipline to welcome entries from students of any discipline. This opens up opportunities to over 600,000 students to participate if we're just looking at the UK alone. For the program to be inclusive for a global audience, we learned that we need to open submissions in September and close them in May to allow educators the flexibility to plan ahead and integrate the RSA briefs into multiple terms in the academic year. We also trialed a range of different learning formats for educators and students over the year. We found that although the creative processes, tools, and examples were valuable to both educators and students, interaction opportunities were limited and participation was low for some of the workshops that we tested. It was clear to us that no one knows how diverse students learn better than their own educators, and therefore the format with the most potential was Q&As with educators where they could find out more about the program, draw inspiration from RSA methods and tools that could be applied to the briefs, and most importantly, learn from one another, especially across disciplines. We scrapped competition fees, and the result was that just in its first public pilot cycle, RSA Spark improved financial inclusion threefold when compared with adjacent Student Design Awards data from previous years. For example, 31% of RSA Spark participants this year receive financial assistance for their education, and 17% are the first generation in their family to go to university. We diversified and opened up the benefits that students gain from a single winner per brief to a ladder of opportunities. So the rungs on the ladder include RSA digital badges to recognize students' learning, the option to get feedback from reviewers, as I mentioned, showcasing up to 10 students, 10 briefs, 10 ideas per brief, and bridging onto entrepreneur grants and mentoring. And then finally, to the third bucket and what we've composted. So one of the most ambitious experiments that we composted was an online learning offer to accompany the students' creative process on the briefs. We developed a quick and dirty learning management system and a series of online modules that students and educators could access to introduce them to different tools, methods, frameworks that help enrich their learning journey and improve the quality of their ideas in response to the criteria. However, what we gained in efficiencies in terms of opening up learning opportunities for the many, we lost in being authentic to the creative processes needed when shaping ideas that have an impact in the world. Skills like creativity, critical thinking, curiosity, and courage are not practiced when ingesting online learning content, They are practiced when students have the space to work on real-world briefs in real-world places with real people they are not often exposed to. So overall, leading this experimental year on RSA Spark was a very humbling experience. This is even more so when I look at some of the emerging impact we have started to see over the 3-month public cycle we launched in March of this year and that we're celebrating students from tonight. In just 3 months, RSA Spark drew submissions from a diverse range of students across a broad spectrum of subject disciplines, countries of study, and backgrounds. So I'll share some of that with you. 65% of submissions were from students studying design, creative, and performing arts courses, yet we saw a large minority of submissions coming from other disciplines, including 21% from those studying engineering and technology. Architecture, business management, social sciences, and computing were also represented. It was great to see submissions from across the globe, including the US, Ireland, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and India, in addition to the UK, of course. When considering student demographics, 45% of students were from ethnic backgrounds other than white. A balanced gender split was represented, with 50% of submissions coming from women. 5% of submissions came from students with a disability. And I mentioned earlier some of the stats around financial inclusion that you can see on the slide. Students were able to submit ideas individually or in teams, and 1/3 chose to submit in teams, which is brilliant. It's worth noting, too, that just over half of submissions, so 55%, were done as part of a course, so they were integrated into the curriculum. When thinking about developing their ideas further, 61% of students said that they would definitely or probably continue developing their ideas beyond RSA Spark. Students shared how participating in RSA Spark had benefited them. This included introducing new ideas and opportunities that they hadn't considered before, reinforcing their intended career paths, deepening their commitment to community and sustainability, and viewing design as a tool for impact. Students involved in RSA Spark made new connections with a range of groups they wouldn't have connected with otherwise. 73% made between 1 to 10 new connections. This included 61% connecting with new university staff, 56% connecting with students on their course that they didn't work with before, and 31% connecting with students outside their course. And as much as RSA Spark is about the students showcased, it's also about everyone who participated and who learned new skills and applied them to create impact. So over the 3 months, we're proud to have awarded 343 RSA Spark digital badges to students who have attended or played back the learning workshops and who submitted or collaborated on an idea. These badges are based on the RSA's own digital badging standard, and we are seeing students already using them as micro-credentials on their CVs and on LinkedIn. Finally, beyond the numbers, I can't help but share 2 of my favorite quotes, one from a student and the second from an educator. So one student said, "The RSA brief has changed how I think about design, not just as a way to shape physical spaces, but as a tool to build connections, support communities, and create positive change." And an educator said something to me in a Q&A session that really stayed with me. He said, "These are the sort of things that we want our students to learn and do that actually matter." Now, from early signals of impact to the best moment of our evening, announcing the most outstanding student submissions for the RSA Spark 2025 Showcase and the special awards. This entire program is made possible through the support of a coalition of ambitious and purpose-driven organizations who share our belief that emerging students and talents have the passion and the creativity to change tomorrow. We are very proud to be working with all of you. A massive thank you to our partners for supporting this very important mission. I will be introducing our brief partners shortly, but I would like to also especially thank the JJ Charitable Trust for supporting the development of the learning curriculum on RSA Spark. I would like to thank Chasegrove Family Foundation for offering seed and scaling grants for RSA Spark Entrepreneur Awards. Chasegrove Family Foundation is focused on impact around climate change, air and water, and they are committed to supporting young people who are going to make a change in the world. Finally, I want to say a big thank you to the Angel Malda Memorial Trust for offering cash awards celebrating the best of UK young talent. I'd also like to extend a huge thanks to all the reviewers who are RSA Fellows and who volunteered their time and expertise to review the students' submissions. Our FRSA reviewers, for some of you in the room with us today, can I ask you to please put your hand up, and then I'd like to invite everyone to please applaud them and say a huge thank you. So RSA Spark's review process included 2 stages with reviewers against RSA Spark's 5 criteria. These are impact potential, financial viability, technical feasibility, audience desirability, and a learning mindset. The review process started firstly with reviewers long-listing all submissions against RSA Spark's criteria, and secondly with partner panels selecting the finalists for the showcase and the special awards. It's important to stress that this review process is entirely blind, so reviewers and partners don't see any demographic, university, or course data during the process. Last but not least, a big thank you to all of the students who took part, and to the educators and your institutions for championing RSA Spark and for experimenting along with us this year. The impact of the program is only possible through your passionate commitment to unlock your full students' brilliant potential. So for all educators in the room, can you please put your hands up, and I'd like to invite you all to please applaud them as well. So I'm going to start the announcements by introducing each brief and inviting the brief partners to come up on stage to congratulate their students. I will then introduce each student submission briefly, inviting the students here to come up on stage. And then please stay on stage until all students have been announced for this brief. We'll then capture that moment in a photo. So we have a photographer somewhere in the room over there. And then move on to the next brief. Let's please keep the applaud brief for each idea that I present, because we are going to do a big round once all the ideas for a single brief are announced. And I'm also only going to introduce the ideas very briefly, because I don't want to give away too much ahead of the unveiling of the showcase. You'll have plenty of time later to explore these ideas at RSA House and online as part of the showcase. So that is the plan. How does that sound? All good? Okay. Going to get started. The hardest thing of all is getting all the student names right and not upsetting any parents. So the first brief is creative communities. The brief asks, how might we make creative education and careers accessible to everyone, everywhere? The brief is supported by the Marketing Trust, a very long-time supporter of the Student Design Awards and RSA Spark. And I'd like to invite up on stage Tony Groom, trustee of the Marketing Trust, to congratulate the students. So, the first idea showcased is Craft E-Commerce and Vocational Academy, a platform for empowering rural artisans in Pakistan, by Sahar Atif from the University of Cambridge, UK. Next, we have Shoe Witch, transforming footwear into an accessible gateway for fashion design, celebrating local handcraft and cultural expression, by Xinyu Liu from the Royal College of Art. Xinyu also won the Entrepreneurs Award from Chasegrove Family Foundation. Next, we have Pathway, a creative resource and development space empowering young creatives with contemporary skills and industry guidance, bridging critical gaps in traditional arts education, by Chanel Niral from Manchester Metropolitan University. Next, The Way to the Moon, a fictional story exploring themes of teamwork and other transferable skills developed from the educational concept of STEAM by Lily Banks from the University of the Arts London and Carice Hutchinson from Nottingham Trent University. Well done. Next up, we have BioBrew, a low-cost, open-source wastewater treatment system designed for small coffee farms by Ki Chen, Royal College of Art. And Ki also won the Entrepreneurs Award. Next, Sunday Park Art, neighborhood creative hubs to inspire, bring awareness, and connect neighbors by Jeremy Yassin, Northumbria University. Jeremy is joining us online, so he won't be in the room, but let's still applaud him. Next, How To, an art class toolkit, a system which enables artists to connect with the community through workshops and events by Cole Byram from Northumbria University, who's also joining us remotely. And I think these were all the ideas showcased for the Creative Communities brief. I'm going to ask you to give them a really big round. Thank you all so much, and a huge well done. Got the photo? Yeah, great. That's important. The second brief is Urban Cool. It asks the question, how might we support citizens and organizations to create cooler, greener, and fairer cities that bring joy and health to everyone? The brief was supported by RMIT University and Hammersmith and Fulham Council, and I'd love to invite Laureen Vaughan, Professor of Design at RMIT University, up on stage. So the first idea showcased is Canopy times Apple Maps, a branded system designed to reduce the impact of urban heat by promoting cooler, greener routes for walking, biking, and transit in Atlanta, by Dakota Myers from Savannah College of Art and Design. Brilliant. I was wondering if he's going to be here. That's brilliant. Dakota also received the Entrepreneurs Award. Next, we have Cool Spot, a scalable system of modular pavilions, portable cooling blankets, and a smart app that delivers immediate low-energy relief in overheated cities, by Madeline Brissenden from Arts University, Bournemouth, and Madeline also received the Entrepreneurs Award. Next up, Biotherm, a sustainable insulation solution using phase change materials made from waste streams like used cooking oil, paraffin, and beeswax. By Kasta Schubecke from Northumbria University. Kasta received 2 additional awards, the Entrepreneurs Award and the Andrew Malde Young Innovator of the Year Award. A huge well done. Next, microparks, transforming neglected walking areas in London into green corridors, by Tom Andrews from Loughborough University. Tom is joining us online, but let's still applaud him. And finally, the Hot Air Company, turning residual data center heat into revenue by powering modular bioreactor units used in biotech by Hannah Cox, Charlotte Calla, and Diana George from the University of the Arts London, and the team is joining us online as well. They were successful for the Andrew Malde Young Innovator of the Year Award. A huge well done to all of you. Thank you. The third brief is Railway 200 and beyond. It's the 200th anniversary of British Rail this year. So the brief asks, how might we take inspiration from 200 years of railway success while innovating for an even brighter future? We have apologies from Anthony Dewar, professional head for buildings and architecture. There was a clash with another event. If he has made it in the room, please do come up. But otherwise, I'd love to invite Shelley Davies, our head of partnerships at the RSA, to congratulate the students on behalf of Network Rail. So the first idea we're celebrating is energy-efficient railways, wind turbines on trains harnessing natural airflow during travel, generating renewable energy without altering propulsion methods. By Sion Koletu, Akil Rahim, Ben Joseph, and Nishan Pitla from Sir Thomas Rich's School. This team is one of our youngest participants to be selected for the showcase, so a huge, huge well done. Next up is Eco Fashion Express, transforming railway stations into sustainable fashion hubs, promoting local, style, and eco-conscious choices. By Liu Cheng from Northumbria University, who's with us online. Commuter carriage, an original retrofit carriage design focused around the improvement of commuter experience on the Great Western Railway Cheltenham Spa to London Paddington line. By Edward Yarsley, Ben Whelan, and Aidan Klukas from Sir Thomas Rich's School, also some of our youngest participants. Reese Station is about transforming uninspiring stations into community-focused, sustainable hubs with local markets and more green spaces. By Sofia Mesheryakova, Laura Balestrieri, and Ella Kluska from Edinburgh College. And this team also won the Chase Grove Family Foundation Entrepreneurs Award. Next, we have Porter, a pioneering rail service powered by passengers on the go, carrying parcels for their neighbours for discounts and rewards. By Dan Hatfield from Loughborough University. And the final idea we're celebrating for the Railway 200 brief. Okay. Oh, it's a bit full, yes. So the final idea there's a team actually. Oh no, one person coming up, one student. So Super Rail is a concept combining education, inspiration, and community engagement, celebrating the historical significance of rail transport while promoting creativity and innovation. The idea is by Alia Bago from Edinburgh Napier University. Actually, Alia is not with us today. She is online, which helps with the stage space. But a huge well done to all the students. Thank you. Brilliant, good, great. Last but not least, the fourth brief is where people meet. And it asks the question, how might we reimagine and create community spaces of the future where people are connected, places are healthy, and everyone is leading a good life? The partner supporting the brief is the RAIN Trust, and I'd love to invite Crispin Truman, Director of the RAIN Foundation and Trust, up on stage to congratulate your students. So the first idea showcased is RISE, a service that repurposes underutilized multi-story car parks into safe and inclusive pop-up events spaces during off-peak hours. The idea was developed by UC Yates at the University of Hertfordshire and also won the Chase Grove Family Foundation Entrepreneurs Award. Next is Rooted, a sustainable urban farming initiative that transforms derelict spaces in towns and cities into community hubs, by Samantha Helm at Loughborough University. Then we have Threads of Hope, focusing on bringing the community together to combat mental health issues and feelings of loneliness through learning a new creative skill, by Madeline Draper from the University of Lincoln. Hotspot is a modular public pavilion designed with and for teenagers to tackle the growing crisis of youth in-person social disconnection, by Elizabeth Cummins from Loughborough University. Next up is Work Hard, Play Hard, transforming Bournemouth's decaying East Side Cliff hotels into a modular community-led co-working hub that combines flexible workspaces with social and well-being zones, by Amelie O'Sullivan from Arts University Bournemouth, and Amelie also received the Chase Grove Family Foundation Entrepreneurs Award. Next is Rural Futures, reimagining rural futures for hybrid working, generation rent, by designing a mixed-use development using adaptive reuse of an old grain store, supporting hybrid working and social connections in Bungay, Suffolk. Sorry, I need to say the name of the student. The student behind the idea is Matilda Blunt from Oxford Brookes University, and Matilda also received the Entrepreneurs Award. Next up is The Commons, a council-funded social initiative designed to support emotional well-being through connection to place, to others, and to the self, by Zara Azam from Loughborough University, who is with us online. Then we have Sangam Repair and Rest Hubs, transforming underused temple and mosque courtyards near construction sites into safe, interfaith spaces where migrant workers rest, repair, and reconnect, by Hasharvadan Pandian from the National Institute of Design in India. And Hasharvadan is joining us online as well. And finally, signages and sips, signages around tea stalls to spark conversations among customers and passerbys, by Deeptam Das, Palafi Saratkar, Sunayana Das, and Devyana Krishna from the National Institute of Design in India, who are with us online. Well done. Thank you all so much. These were all the students we were awarding tonight. So huge well done to all of you. Let's give you all a big, big round. So huge congratulations again to all the students, and I'm sure you're all looking forward to delving more into their work and ideas later this evening. But before we do that, I wanted to bring a few wonderful people together over a brief conversation about their experience of being involved in RSA Spark from their very diverse perspectives. We already have Crispin and Amelie up on stage, and I'd like to also invite Holly Lewis and Martin Sims to join us, and I'm going to come and sit with you. It's much more comfortable over here. Oh, we need to move the chairs forward.
Oh, yes.
I thought we needed a reminding on that. Sorry, Rachel.
Is that enough?
Great. So I'm going to just take a moment to introduce our panelists who've all been part of RSA Spark in some shape or form. Crispin, I've already introduced you briefly, director of the RAIN Trust, who supported the Where People Meet brief, but also more importantly, the Trust has been running a Where People Meet program for the last 2 years to strengthen social connections and outcomes through community centres or third spaces. And I mentioned that Amelie O'Sullivan is a student at Arts University Bournemouth and worked on her idea, Work Hard, Play Hard, in response to the Where People Meet brief. Your idea was both showcased and won the Entrepreneurs Award, so huge, huge well done. We're also joined tonight by Martin Sims. Martin is senior lecturer on the BA Graphic Design course at Arts University Bournemouth, and whose students Amelie and Madeline Brissenden were both showcased. And from the last conversation I had with you, Martin, you were saying that Arts University Bournemouth has been teaching the Student Design Awards briefs and the RSA Spark briefs for over 30 years now, which I think is absolutely incredible.
We love them.
Amazing. That's all we need to hear. And then I'll introduce... and I'll introduce Holly as well. So Holly Lewis is co-founder of We Made That, a national high streets task force expert, a mayor's design advocate for the Greater London Authority, and an RSA Spark guide for the Where People Meet brief. So this means that Holly will be mentoring Lucy Yates, Matilda Blunt, and of course Amelie as well. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us. So to start off, I'd like to invite the panel to tell me, just in a few words, to tell us why you're part of RSA Spark this year and kind of what drew you to this moment. We can start with you, Martin. I know you have a lot to say.
I did have more to say than just London. So I've been teaching at the Arts University. Oh, I should watch my mic. I've been teaching at the Arts University for 10 years now, and the RSA Original Student Design Awards and now Spark is key to the integration in the third year. But what's really interesting is we prepare them from day one for this kind of thing. So the competition has always been sort of like the pinnacle of their education going through the university. So we really want to get a brief that has critical thinking skills, but also gives them the chance to do these kind of crazy or wild ideas whilst they're working on the project. And since I've been working on them, I think this sounds quite boastful, but we do very well on them as well. So from that perspective, that's very, very good for our students' perspective. So any student who's in the first or second year, knowing that they have kind of to live up to that standard of someone who's doing really well. We've had Amelie and Maddie win awards this year, and last year I think Elsa Smith.
Yes.
Josie Field the year before. So there's a legacy to us working with the awards. Yeah, and as I say, we do love them. They're just perfect for our degree. Really, really good, and hopefully the students agree as well. Although apparently I'm quite tough on them. I got to, what was it, the word we... Yeah, you did, yeah. Apparently,
we'll get to hear from Amelie
brutal
soon.
feedback, yes. Yeah. Oh no, you were last, I forgot, yeah.
She will have the last word.
But I think what we love about them, so I will summarize. What we love about them is that they're challenging, but they're within reach. So we give them a nice challenge, and a lot of our students are very, very capable of taking on those complex challenges and doing a very, very good job at them.
Amazing,
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. I know it's a lot of work teaching them as well, so thank you for
No, it's
everything.
a breeze. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Some of them, sorry.
Holly, what drew you to this? Why did you accept to join us as an RSA Spark guide?
Yeah, of course, it started with a very kind invitation, so that was where it comes from. I suppose for me, I mean, I'm an architect. I've been through architecture school. No one ever mentioned that running a business or being entrepreneurial was in any way a creative endeavour or anything that might be interested. Your tiny little sliver of 4% from architecture schools doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
And so when you sent this over, I guess I've been sort of through a process of feeling like, oh, maybe entrepreneur is a hat that I can wear or is like a name that I can feel comfortable in, and it isn't too slick and too corporate and kind of icky. And so when the invitation came through, I thought, yeah, actually, that sounds pretty good. Yeah. And the combination of physical space, that's what we do, buildings, public spaces, planning for the places where people meet, it was a really great fit. And I thought, well, yeah, why not? That sounds fun. So it's partly embracing a side of myself that I'm trying to come to terms with, and partly just, yeah, the energy and the sort of potential of the brief was really exciting.
Thank you, Holly. We're very honoured that you've accepted. Crispin.
Thank you. Well, yes, as a funder, the RAIN Foundation, the RAIN Trust has worked with RSA for a number of years. We previously were involved in the Design Awards with our Older People's Best Careers programme.
100th year.
In our 100th year, which was very exciting. I enjoyed that so much, we wanted to find a way of working with you again. But we also knew that RSA shares many of the same values and principles of the RAIN Foundation and the desire to find solutions to particularly bring people together and build stronger communities, which is what the Where People Meet programme is all about. So we had that, but most importantly, I think, for the programme itself, we wanted to bring a younger voice and the creativity and the inspiration of a younger audience, as well as making it more widely known, of course, through the RSA's extensive fellowship and reach across the country. So really has helped us bring it to life.
Amazing. Thank you, Crispin. And the Where People Meet was hands down the most popular brief, actually.
Of course.
I mean, it kind of speaks to...
Of course.
But I guess in a kind of moment where we see a lot of communities are polarised and there's kind of quite a lot of difference of opinion, looking at community centres and fair spaces as opportunities to bring people together was a very passionate topic for a lot of students to respond to. So yeah, thank you for your support. Amelie, now you can come back on what Martin was saying.
She's not my student anymore, so she can say what she likes.
Graduated, so...
Can I also add, and got an internship?
Yeah. So obviously, as Martin said, part of the 55% of students that have worked on this as part of their, university's curriculum. And for me, I mean, I also agree that Where People Meet was the most popular for a reason. It was the obvious choice for me. Having lived in Bournemouth for 2 years, I could see that there were opportunities there. I'd walk down the street and see so much beauty in the gardens and the beach and derelict buildings alongside. So I wanted to choose this brief because I felt like I could, create some kind of proper social change with it. So moving forward and actually entering it into RSA Spark, instead of just keeping it inside that university bubble, felt like the only way to move forward, really.
Great. Amelie, we're going to stay with you, and I have a question for you around work hard, play hard as an idea. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? And particularly because a lot of the feedback, I wasn't part of the review process, fully independent, but the reviewers were really impressed with your research and creative process. So we'd love to find out a little bit more about how you've gone about that and what were your greatest learnings.
Yeah, so work hard, play hard is an idea that utilises Bournemouth's Eastside Cliff hotels, which are currently unusable and derelict, and it transforms and reimagines them into a community space, both modular and community-led, that uses and combines flexible workspaces with social and well-being zones. So the aim of this is to bring together entrepreneurs and freelancers and local people and allow them to mix and make work a place where you can have a few more personal benefits. So as part of my creative process, obviously it started with a lot of research into the psychology of space and loneliness and how environments change behaviour, but a huge insight for me in the heart of my project was the concept of unlikely connections and strange bedfellows and how bringing together two unlikely people that might have never crossed paths before can really add value to a person's life. Another big part of my research process, I pitched to the hotel owners, which is a really good experience. I was able to work with them a little bit more, see if the idea had any true merit. So that was brilliant to do.
Amazing, thank you.
Oh, and sorry, my greatest learning. Yes. I forgot about that one. I mean, my greatest learning was probably just, being able to say, just go with it and send that email and ask that person and pitch to those people and see what can happen. It gave me a lot of confidence. So.
Amazing. Well done, Emily. That's really inspiring. Martin. Martin, a little bit of a loaded question. The education sector is seeing just a bit of change at the moment. So we're seeing the National Curriculum and Assessment Review in England, the new Creative Industries Sector Plan, really difficult funding challenges for the HE sector, and AI acceleration like we've never seen before. How does that affect what you do as an educator nurturing emerging creative talent?
It is a loaded question, isn't it?
Can you fix it all, please?
I'm a bit of a rambler as well, so I'm going to have to sort of stick to my fingers on this one. First of all, so we really welcome the government's inclusion of creativity. It feels like it's been absent for far too long now. I mean, if you think about that Sir Ken Robinson talk about schools kill creativity, that's from 2006. And what's really interesting is it feels like things haven't shifted for a really long time. So despite those messages being out there, now we actually have a government who's willing to talk about that kind of thing. So I'd love to see how that plan works, because if you look at the white paper or report, it looks like a really good strategy. I think, okay, so first answer. This is quite tricky, isn't it? And of course, the other thing is, so creativity and problem solving is something that we do really well on our course. So this is something that we're kind of training people to do. But we're also, even though there's all this change, the nutshell of this is, even though there's all this change, and yes, AI is changing the way that people work and these kind of things, we're still trying to create students who are going to be able to work in any kind of condition in the future. So not just thinking about what's going to happen, are they going to be able to get a job when they graduate? Yes, hopefully those kind of things. But what's going to happen, 5 or 10 years down the line? I know that Tim Brown has this very famous concept of T-shaped designers. I was explaining a bit earlier, I like the idea of tree-shaped designers, really rooted in the ground, so they've got like a good foundational practice, but they also have many limbs. So if a storm comes along, they might lose a branch or something like that. So I think that, I know this is a bit of a cop-out answer, but there's all these things happening that no matter what storm comes, no matter what change happens, we still have these kind of big oak tree-like people, and that's one of the goals that we're trying to achieve on the course, is just students who are capable of weathering those storms no matter what changes.
That's an amazing metaphor for that kind of adaptive skill set and that resilience. Thank you. I might lean in on that.
Anyone's allowed the tree-shaped thing.
I will
Sorry,
credit,
Tim.
I'll
Sorry,
credit
Tim.
you for sure. Holly, last but not least, what was your journey? Oh, actually, we're coming to you, Crispin. I will not forget you. What was your journey like as a creative entrepreneur? You started to touch on that a little bit. And what do you feel are the greatest challenges and opportunities for young creative talent like Amelie with a kind of social venture in mind and wanting to kind of see that through? What lies ahead?
So, yeah, I mean, I have to start by picking a little bit of a hole in the question, because what was your creative journey, or your journey like? And I feel like it's an ongoing journey. Okay. It doesn't end. I'm not like, oh, okay, done. Done being an entrepreneur. Now let's just count the money. So that carries on, and in some ways it's a little bit like climbing a mountain or something. Like, you think you get to that ridge, and when I get to that ridge, then I'm going to be at the top, and they're like, oh no, it's like it keeps going and it keeps going. So it's ongoing, and the things that I'm learning now are different than the things that I was learning as a 22-year-old recent graduate, which is when we started the practice. Just saying, for everybody who's just got their award, like, just go and do it, make it happen. It could still keep you going 20 odd years later, which is where we are. I think that drive for trying to make better places. Like, it's not right. Places are not good enough. People are not well enough connected to their places. We don't understand well enough that the whole world is shaped by humans, and it could just be shaped in a different way if it's not working for you.
Yeah.
That kind of question has given us drive for the practice across that whole period since we were 22. And so I think that the ideas that we're hearing about tonight show that there's this great opportunity for continuing to think creatively around how to have impact and how to do it in a way that's entrepreneurial. The challenges are that there is no money anywhere, or it feels like that a lot of the time. And how to do that in a way that is self-sustaining, that isn't just assuming that there's a big philanthropic fund that will just go, well, this is the best idea ever, just here, take it off my hands. That is the trick. And where and when you're willing to compromise to deliver on the thing that you want to deliver.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we don't really, we don't like that client that much, but they're going to pay the good money, so they're going to let us do the thing. Like those kind of compromises that come from trying to make impact are still super interesting. And I think, those are the challenges that people will be looking at. And I really look forward to working through, in my guide role, how those things impact on the particular projects that I'll be mentoring.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very clear challenge and a very visceral one. And through your mentoring relationship with Amelie and some of the other students, at the heart of that is really thinking about what the business model is for these ventures, as well as kind of how they drive social and environmental impact. So trying to weigh up all of these different outcomes and ensure viability is the heart of that is really, really challenging.
And this is creative.
Yeah.
There's this thing that says like, oh, the money is like bean counting, and it's not. Like the ability to make those things work together is a creative act as well. So I think to see that as the whole picture, I think is really exciting. I think that's what these briefs seem to do.
Great, thank you, Holly. Promised I'll come back to you, Kristen. So where people meet, what drew you to set up the programme? And kind of, if you want to you can zoom out of that question and look at kind of more broadly as a funder, what is your role in supporting innovations that have that societal impact, particularly linking to Holly's point around it's really difficult to fund this stuff.
Absolutely, well, very much. As Holly said, we're as a funder, we've been for a long time very interested in how you build community and build bridges between communities. And we're seeing a huge loss over decades in society of the things that bring people together, the places, the buildings, ordinary buildings, shops and pubs and banks and building societies and police stations, the list goes on and on. We've lost since, the 60s. Add that to the loss of public space, particularly streets that used to be places where people could spend time are now dominated by traffic. You've lost so many physical opportunities for people to come together, and we think that's one of the main reasons for the fragmented, fractured society we see now, because people just don't have the opportunity for that informal contact. So it's a pretty challenging picture, but I think we're also very excited by the opportunity. And as we started to look at this, we brought together some fairly senior people from lots of different disciplines, health and education, as well as planning and design and architecture, and found not only was there a real awareness of this terrible need, this terrible loss that we've not really recognised in British society, but also a lot of interest in doing something about it. So the time is right. And then going out there and looking at what people are doing, we're seeing amazing examples, like the examples today from the great young people's design briefs, but also people actually taking things into their own hands, most specifically community asset movement, which is often young people actually in very disadvantaged communities, literally taking control of the buildings in their midst that have been abandoned. And how many? Four hotels?
Four hotels, yeah.
Just abandoned. I mean, actually, in your case, you managed to contact the owners, which is quite a feat. The complexity and difficulty of getting these buildings back, but these amazing movements, these community asset teams of communities have done it themselves in places like Plymouth and Hastings and up in Nottingham, all over the country, and are starting to make things happen in these buildings, taking control of them, and rebuilding community, and actually delivering some amazingly informal public services in the process, helping the most disadvantaged. So there's a real source of hope and excitement there. What can we do to help? Well, that is the big problem. You're right, there's not huge pots of money. I think what we're trying to do is, raise the profile of the issue. We've just done a report with New Local which talked about this problem and the solutions, and a bit of a vision for community centres. We're picking on community centres as part of the solution. Obviously, there's a complex, and you're involved in Playful Green Planet, which is about nature spaces, which is also part of it. And we can raise the profile, we can set out a vision for better community spaces. We can assemble money, and we are trying to get others to invest in this area by raising the profile and talking about it more, and that's why RSA Spark has been so valuable in that respect. But also we need to influence the powers that be, and governments of all colours have sat by and watched this closure of public buildings over decades. We need to hear what they've got to do about it. And there is interest in devolution and community right to buy, and communities having more say. So we're saying, you know, government needs to be more enabling, not telling people how to do things, but actually to support communities who are trying to do exciting things like revive 4 derelict hotels in the midst of communities. And we can convene and bring people together and raise awareness. So I hope there's a real opportunity for change there, which we can all be part of.
Thank you, Crispin. It's really inspiring work, and I think what designers would probably describe a lot of what we've said as kind of field building. How do you build a new field, a new impact field that doesn't exist, and how do you kind of fund that and platform that and draw more attention to it from right across different sectors. So I've got one final question for all of you, but we are tight on time, so the answer is a single word. No pressure. So in one word, tell us one thing you're taking away or would like to take away from RSA Spark tonight. And maybe we'll start with you, Martin.
Sharing.
I love how you all almost want to say more. Sorry.
Well, you said...
I'm cheating.
Energy.
Well, it has to be excitement, doesn't it, for me?
For me, it's got to be connection.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all again for sharing your thoughts, your experiences so candidly. The impact of programs like RSA Spark can only be made possible when we come together, as we have, through cross-sector collaboration across industry, education, enterprise, to shape and support the ideas and the skills that we need for the future. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to pass back to Sir Lloyd to close the main stage event and to unveil the showcase. I think you can all...
Are you going to stay on stage?
Stay with you, or we can
not?
just
Quite nice up here, actually.
just share the glamour.
Yeah, I'm very aware that I'm all that is standing between you. Fabulous reception that's about to happen. Thanks for the new tree metaphor.
You're welcome.
We'll do what we can to popularise. I was always told you should be like a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember your roots, stand up straight, and drink a lot of water. So,
At least it's water.
a big thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone for all your hard work. Now we come to the exciting moment when we actually unveil the RSA Spark 2025 Showcase. For those of you online, the online showcase has just gone live, and the link will be shared with you in the chat. Enjoy exploring the brilliant work of the students, and do connect with them, please. The showcase at RSA House opens to the public from tomorrow, so do tell everyone to come along, and it will be open until the 23rd of October. So, for those of you in the room, you can make your way to the vaults through either set of doors, which I guess there are a lot of doors in this room. The doors to my left are the accessible route. For everyone watching online, the streaming part of the event has ended. Please raise a glass of whatever you like, wherever you are, and toast this wonderful new generation of creative. And to those of you here, please join us in the vaults for more celebration and more inspiration from all our student award winners. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.